Welcome, everyone, to the Fright Corner podcast. I'm your host, John, and with me, as always, is Jeff.
Hello.
And for this week on our podcast, we have two movies and a game review again. The first movie we're going to review, The Fourth Kind, is from 2009. Then we have the game review. Which game are you reviewing tonight, Jeff?
This game is called One Late Night.
All right. And then for our second movie, we will continue with our franchises, talk about Paranormal Activity 3 from 2011. I've seen today, I have not watched the trailer yet, but there is a new Rings trailer out that premiered today to be a follow-up to the Ring movie from earlier 2000s, I guess. I think it was 2000s when it came out originally. But I've not got to watch the trailer yet. And I know, is it something that you'd be interested in, or did you ever see the original?
I did see the original. I know the Ring was a copy of, an American version, I guess, of Ringu from Japan. But I'm not sure if this new one, counts the original movie as canon, or if this is like a new take on it. I'm not sure exactly, because I haven't actually watched the trailer for it, but I've definitely seen its presence being known online for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen it all over Twitter and stuff today, and I just didn't sit down and have a chance to watch it yet, but I'm going to try to check it out later on tonight. Now, also, of course, I had the announcement come out earlier that we were going to go to Blog Talk Radio. Well, that fell flat on its face. We had some technical issues, and there's budgeting to consider, and to get a good use out of that, obviously, it would cost quite a bit. So we're coming back to Spreaker. That already has links to iTunes and everything, so we're going to stay here on Spreaker, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the old episodes, like the first 5, I'm going to transfer them over to YouTube, so that way we have archive on YouTube of all of our podcasts. And I figure that way if any new listeners want to come back and listen to some of the old stuff, it'll be on YouTube under the Fright Corner, so it'll be easy to find.
Yeah, and most likely I'll end up putting all of those YouTube episodes onto the website, thefrightcorner.tk, and that way people won't really have to search around for it too much, and it'll be right there in one convenient spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know we were talking about this. We talked about doing some live shows on YouTube anyway eventually. Might do something live on there. Not sure what we'll do yet, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah, for sure.
If it was a gameplay or whatever else we want to try to do.
Yeah, we might actually end up doing one of those, just kind of a live stream of one of our favorite horror games or something like that, so you all can kind of experience that along with us, because there's a couple that are super scary in my opinion, so I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Plus, I'm really looking forward to the new Resident Evil Biohazard 7 coming out. I think it's going to be creepy, and it looks really good, so I'm looking forward to that one above all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm trying to think of what else we got coming up. I got asked there's a podcast called Laughing Horror. I encourage everybody to check it out. He asked me to give like a little audio blurb to talk about Wes Craven and his career a little bit. So I'm going to be submitting that over on Laughing Horror, and he will probably have that out here in a week or two. So it might be worth checking out. He's kind of doing a tribute to Wes Craven. So we lost him not too long ago, it seems like. Unfortunately. The guy redefined horror several times, so.
Yeah, very influential on the whole industry overall, really. I mean, I know a lot of new directors have taken inspiration from his work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can see it a lot. I mean, he saved New Line Cinema. Let's face it, that he saved that company from bankruptcy when he came in and made Nightmare on Elm Street. He saved them. So
yeah,
they owe a lot to him by itself. And the only other thing I got coming up is I got invited on to another podcast called The Horror Cast. And in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I think, we're going to be doing a commentary track on Return of the Living Dead from 1985, which I'm looking forward to because it's definitely one of my favorite zombie movies. So I'm really looking forward to doing that and see how that turns out. They usually have a bi-weekly show come out. It's a little bit longer of a listen. Usually it's a couple of hours, but they get into detail and they talk about all kinds of stuff on there. So it's worth checking out as well. And I really don't have anything else news-wise or anything right here in front of me today.
Okay.
So I guess
yeah, exactly. We'll just jump right into it here with The Fourth Kind.
Yes. Why don't you go ahead and give a summary of that one for us, Jeff?
So basically, The Fourth Kind came out several years ago, and it was kind of a big deal for me personally because it's about the alien abduction phenomena. And I was really interested to see what they did with this film because when it first released, they purported that it was actually using real footage, real documentary footage of different, regressions, hypnotherapy type things on people who had been abducted. And so they were toting that they had actual footage in the movie of these occasions. And it turns out that these were not actually real things and that they were like both the real and the recreation, which they both had in the movie, were actually all, staged. They were all just interpretations, basically, of real-life accounts, but not necessarily from Nome, Alaska. But the main story revolves around Mila Jovovich's character, who plays a hypnotherapist up in Nome, Alaska. And there have been a recent string of alien abductions, so-called alien abductions in this area. And so they actually started to go and regress some of these patients, and they started seeing, disturbing results with what they were recounting that actually happened to them while they were abducted. And so this movie basically follows her journey through all of this stuff and like dealing with the local sheriff who is not very open to this whole situation. And that's pretty much the premise of it, just dealing with these, extraordinary situations.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like I said, being called The Fourth Kind, they established the three kinds of encounters, with the fourth kind being, is it more or less abduction? I mean, I'm trying to go back and remember everything from it, but
they actually say that in the movies. The fourth kind is when they take you.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I was, because you got sightings and everything else, but that's what's mostly focused around, is the fourth kind of the encounter where they're actually abducted. Which, it was a pretty good movie. I mean, all in all, it is. I don't think it's a bad movie. Critics weren't too thrilled about it, but I really think that it had some promise to it. And even the user reviews, even on IMDb, it's got 5.9 out of 10, and that's pretty good. Yeah,
for IMDb, those crowd, reviewed films, that's a big thing, like Metacritic and all those.
Yeah, and when I was with you when this first came out, when they said they had actual footage and then they had the recreation and stuff, and I was really excited about it, and then, of course, thanks to the internet, that got spoiled when we know that it's all recreation, it's all made up, and, it was kind of disappointing because I was hoping they would have footage, but then I started thinking, well, if this was documented footage of a medical situation, if she was a hypnotherapist, psychiatrist, whatever, they technically couldn't release it without the people's permission. And right. I couldn't imagine people in that situation would let them use it to mass produce a movie.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, they're hitting something real personal if they were abducted. That's something really personal to them.
Yeah.
That maybe they I don't think that's something they'd just say, oh yeah, go ahead and use our footage, it's fine.
Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they are going off of actual cases, like things that have just been reported in general, throughout human history. And I think it's hard. This movie has a special place for me because, like, I've studied the alien abduction phenomena for many, many years, almost a decade now, actually. And it's one of those things because it is real to me, like this many witnesses. I say it with ghosts and everything else. Like, this many witnesses, this many people saying that this happened, that would win any court case in the world. Like, something is legitimately happening here. We don't know what exactly, but something is happening like this, and to kind of expose the mainstream to this and, make them deal with it, make them look at it head on. It's really something that I appreciate. And so the movie overall, just as a piece of cinema, was very nice. I love Mila Jovovich. She's always, fantastic in all of her movies, whether it be Resident Evil or this one even. She, did the best that she could with what she was doing. And even the actors in the supposed real footage. I mean, just watching the movie, if I hadn't known that they were fake, then I probably wouldn't have known. Like, I would have accepted that as the real deal. And so, all the acting was spot on. The sheriff character was great acting to the point of him annoying the hell out of me. And so, like, it's bad there, but it's a good thing at the same time because, like, he did his job. He made me legitimately, be like, go away now, please.
Oh, absolutely. When they get you, if that's the type of character they're going for to irritate you or whatever, and they get you going on it, then you know that they had real good writing and direction and a good actor playing it. So that makes a difference. And so, for me, I did like it. I like Mila Jovovich because this is something different, or just an action movie to see her in, to see her playing more of a serious, down-to-earth role. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And, of course, obviously this goes around talking about eventually the abduction of her daughter by the end of it. And, I don't know, did you feel like maybe they were trying to put too many plot lines in there to try to follow? Or do you think it was pretty straightforward? I mean, I felt there was a lot of plot lines that they probably didn't need to have all those in there.
Right. I mean, I understood what was going on through the entire movie, but there were a lot of little miniature stories going on between each individual person who had been abducted, and she was going through all their stories. And then she's dealing with her own personal story, like her husband committing suicide or, being taken. I mean, it's never really clearly defined because, she believes that he wouldn't do that. And the sheriff is like, oh, you're dealing with PTSD and like you just can't accept the truth and you have to accept this and now it's going to cost you your daughter and all this stuff. But like she believes it's real, and this is something that I can really empathize with, and I can actually I can get emotional over it because it's like something that happened, but nobody believes you. And where do you go when nobody believes you, when these extraordinary things happen and people are so rooted in their everyday life that they don't trust you or they don't accept what you're saying? And so that feeling of aloneness, it really can grab you, and as a viewer, you can empathize with that character. And I think that's something that's on a human level that's very, very important to have and very beneficial to this film in particular. So I mean, to get back on track, I guess it is a lot of stories, but at least they did keep that human element in there, and they did it for a reason. It wasn't just to throw it in there.
Oh, absolutely. At least they did keep it grounded there, and that's a huge plus, because I think if they would have got too extreme with it, it would have really lost a lot for me in the movie. Yeah. Because, I mean, I still wanted to come back to that human element to know what the emotions were that was going through there, and they conveyed that pretty well. But it's one of those ones that if you start watching it, you need to watch it all the way through. Don't be doing something else. You need to have full focus on it so you kind of pick up everything that's going on.
Exactly, and it does do that split frame thing where, there's a couple different angles, 3 or 4 different angles on the screen all at the same time, covering the same situation, and sometimes left side-by-side with the recreation and the supposed real footage. And so there's a lot going on the screen, and this is one of those movies you could probably watch it a couple times and see something different that you didn't catch the first time around. So it does have that slight replayability factor, and I appreciate that as well.
Oh yeah, that is good. That does have that, because that's huge in movies anymore, to have that replayability. Because so many of them anymore just don't have it. You see it, and then that's it. It's like, well, I really don't want to go back and revisit that, because I don't think there's nothing shown for me. Because especially with the way horror movies, some of them are going here in this last, 16 years, whatever. It seems like they have a lot of recurring events, a lot of repeats, and it's nice to have something you can go back to that's fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And just some backstory on this as well. I mean, in Nome, Alaska, there are legitimately a lot of disappearances, and not all of them are explained, but Alaska is known for being a place where people just disappear. Like, you could just wander off into the wilderness and never be seen again. I think the last number I had heard was 60,300 people roundabout have disappeared since 1988 in the state of Alaska alone. I mean, can you imagine how many people that is? So even if it's not aliens, just the fact that that many people are gone, it's crazy. Just wandering off into the wilderness or dying of natural causes, getting stranded somewhere, bad luck. I mean, who knows?
You know, and they do have quite a few suicides up there because some people can't handle the way their cycles are with day and nights. You know, and some people have been known that they live up there for a certain time, and then as soon as it gets to where it's going to be light too much or it's dark too much, they come down to the lower 48 and you know, live those few months in there just so they don't have to deal with it. But I knew they do have a high suicide rate, and like you said, it's wild country up there. It's not very well,
not very
you know,
hospitable.
laid out. You know, yeah, exactly. You know, we're kind of invading some of the animal territory up there with the bears and everything else that's out there. So yeah, I mean, I could see that. You know, if somebody goes like, oh, I'm just gonna go hike through the woods, well, they may have got ate by a bear and not come back.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and give my score overall, I guess, John. Then I'll let you give yours.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. A 4.5 out of 5. I don't know if I can do that technically, but
yes.
This is what I'm going for. So the only reason I didn't give it a 5 is because of how they misled us to think that that was actual footage, and they actually had to pay settlements to I think it was the state of Alaska or some organization because they had created fake news stories to legitimize this film. And so I didn't appreciate the misleading factors leading in, but I can understand what they were trying to accomplish, creating the buzz and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a solid 4.5 out of 5 because this is so close to me. And I mean, all the stuff that they used in the film was like stuff that I have encountered in my research. Aliens claiming that they're God, they created us. Aliens, probing people. As much as that's funny, tee-hee, people laugh about it. I mean, they legitimately are studying our bodies. And from all the research that I've gathered, this movie took a lot of real elements that people claim to have had happen to them. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I can appreciate that as well for them doing that, because I just think that you have to be pretty narrow-minded to think that we're the only species out here in this universe, this vast universe. I'm sure there's some life out there somewhere.
Exactly. I've talked about it, not to cut you off, I've talked about it on my Edge of the Earth podcast. It's mathematically impossible for life to not on other planets, John. I'm sure you would agree with that.
Oh, I do. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I just feel that there's got to be... I just can't imagine that we're just a little blue speck in this huge universe. So, I mean, like you said, it's mathematically impossible. I mean, whether or not they're the same kind of beings that we are, I don't know. But,
right.
I mean, it's just, something's out there. Somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I'll give my rating on this, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it. And it's one of those ones that after about a year or so, I'd probably watch again to see if I pick up on anything else. But I'm kind of with you. I'm a little bit harsher on them whenever they tell me that they're using actual stuff, and then they flat out come out and say, well, no, this actually wasn't real. And that bothers me. It's like, come on, is it?
Yeah.
I understand the viral marketing and stuff like that. That's cool. A lot of them have done it. But this was one that I think I could have took as more of a serious movie, and then when they do that, it just kind of takes it away. It's like, I thought this was going to be something more serious, something... Which, I mean, they did take it seriously. It's just, don't tell me that we got actual footage, and then, well, this wasn't really actual footage. This was what we filmed.
Right.
So that kind of bothers me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I did appreciate them using at the very end, though, with the ending credits, all the phone calls into like 911 and police departments of people reporting UFOs. I don't know if those were real or not, but they sounded close, at least pretty real. But then again, so did the movie.
It's very possible, because a lot of that stuff is public access where you can get the 911 calls and stuff. So, and I mean, I know they probably get lots of calls for that, and lots of police department calls for UFO sightings.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all in all, not a bad movie. I'd recommend it for people. So
Yeah.
I guess now I'm going to turn it over to you to let you do your game review. So what do you got for us today?
All right, so I actually have a game called One Late Night, and this is another independent game. And so this one actually puts you in an office, like you work in a cubicle type thing. Not really a cubicle, but like in a back office, basically. And the graphics aren't anything super crazy. Like you can run it on most computers that are made post 2010. I would say. I don't know. It doesn't take anything super powerful. Is what I'm basically coming down to saying. So basically, you work in this office, and the game starts you out at night, and basically you're working late or whatever, and so it gives you little menial tasks to go accomplish, like go get coffee or something like that. And so you leave your office, and then you kind of explore the area around you, just inside the building here, and things will start to happen slowly. Like this is kind of a paranormal type game, like a ghost type game. And things will happen around the office, and like things will be written on the walls, and lights will turn on and off, and you have to kind of hide for a little bit from whatever's out there. And so there's a little bit of strategy involved, but mostly just the overall ambiance of being alone at night in this brightly lit office that should feel safe, but it's really not. And there are these little secrets to discover here and there. And yeah, it's not a super long game either, and the best part is it's free. So you can actually go to onelatenight.com and download it for whatever your operating system is, and definitely enjoy that, because it's pretty creepy. It's got some elements that will scare you, or hopefully will scare you. It definitely got to me a little bit, so it was definitely worth the download. It's not very big either. I think it's under 500 megabyte hours, so it's not too bad. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, it sounds like one to check out. I'll have to get that downloaded and try it out and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to Paranormal Activity 3, which is part of our franchise. We're at the halfway point now through this franchise. It has a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It was released in 2011. And just a quick synopsis, I guess you could call it. In 1988 in California, cinematographer Dennis moves to a house... to the house of his girlfriend Julie to raise a family with her daughters Katie and Christy. Little Christy has an imaginary friend named Toby. While weird things happen in the house, Dennis decides to place cameras in the house to capture images during the night, and soon he finds that there is an entity in the house. Dennis's friend Randy Rosen researches the events and learns that his house might be a coven of witches, and the children may be in danger. And that pretty well sums it up. I mean, we're going back to the past with these kids growing up that we've watched in the last two movies. The sisters, anyway. All in all, I kind of like this one because I like the nostalgic feeling that you're watching a VHS movie. I do like that because that just brings back a lot of memories. And some of the stuff that he sets up, the way he does some of it, like taking apart the oscillating fan and putting a camera on there to capture stuff, I thought that was pretty neat. Pretty ingenious.
They did a lot of things right with this one, and like you said, I really enjoyed the nostalgia. It actually felt like I was watching a movie that was set in the past. Like sometimes they try and pull these movies off that are set years ago, and it just doesn't feel like it. The characters don't really act like you would think that they would. But then again, how do you expect them to act differently? I don't know. But like you said, like the little things like the oscillating fan and just the camera setups. And one thing I actually did appreciate is that he actually did kind of start to pay attention when the activity started. Like early on, he started noticing things, and it wasn't just like straight up denial. Like he actually was like, "Hey, there's something going on here. I should probably be wary of this."
And even his girlfriend, fiance, whatever, even she notices it, but yeah, she wants to ignore it. Say, "Nope, just forget it. Just forget about it. We're not going to worry about it. Just go on." Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, how can you keep doing that whenever you've got all this stuff going on? I mean, not something you'd want to ignore, I don't think. I think that'd be something you want to keep in with. And like I said, they did a lot of right things on here. I like the special effects in here because there wasn't a ton of special effects, but the one that I really like, that I really appreciate that they did, is when it's on the oscillating fan and the babysitter's downstairs and she's doing her homework. And it's panning back and forth. and then you see that sheet behind her, and it's a ghost. You know, the ghost is standing behind her in the sheet, and then it just collapses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
that
they
moment.
did that was really good. They made it look flawless. You know, I don't think it was CGI. I could be
I
very
don't think
wrong,
so.
but it looked too real not to be, anything but a practical effect, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, I thought they did a lot of stuff right. Uh, Another part I really enjoyed was when his friend was watching. I think was it Christy. I don't remember if it was. I think it was Christy. He was sitting there while Katie was, or whichever one of them he was staying with, while the other one went to the hospital because she was sick. And they go into the bathroom and play Bloody Mary. Of course, he gets scratched or whatever on the side. Oh, that kind of hurt. I don't know what's going on. And when they open up that bedroom door and everything is just going chaotic in their room up there is just pretty freaky when you think about it. It's like, what are you going to do? Because, it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be taking care of this kid, but, on the other hand, he was scared to death, didn't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. That was a super intense scene. I mean, that one, I definitely remember that one very, very vividly, even, before I watched it this most recent time. Like, that one always kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite scenes in the movie because everything's going, stuff's getting thrown across. It's banging on the doors, trying to get into the bathroom. It's tipping tables over, and it just goes nuts.
Yeah,
And
plus I
that's
like
just,
how they took the Bloody Mary thing and kind of implemented it into a real world scenario. Because, every kid does that at some point, almost
oh yeah,
always.
almost
So,
always they do. So yeah, I did enjoy that because especially 80s. Of course, it's been around even before that, but I remember it was popular in the 80s when I was growing up.
yeah.
That was something that was always talked about. Uh, but yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I don't got a problem with it. I guess the only thing that I'll take that back. There's only one thing that bothered me is toward the end, whenever I understand it's a coven of witches or whatever, that the mother or grandmother or somebody's made a deal with the demon to give the first male child away.
Yeah.
But I guess what my thing is, I'm trying to understand, if it's supposed to come after the male child, why is it tormenting the kids whenever they're not even male? I mean, you figure it would wait till the male child was born before it would try to show back up, instead of terrorizing these kids, which doesn't know what the effect could be, could put them in a mental institution, and then there's no offspring. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Maybe I'm thinking too much into it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the demon was just getting familiar with the family and kind of, you know, well, just really getting familiar with them, kind of hanging around them until it was time, to take the child. But yeah, that is a very good question. I don't know how I feel about the ending. I mean, I accept it and I understand what was going on, but like bringing the whole coven of witches and all that, it just like it took it away from that simplicity of the, suburban home where they're just, all playful and this scary thing happens. It actually took it into a different place, I felt like, but that's really what they had to do ultimately to continue the story.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that. I guess that's something. I mean, I guess the the Toby demon was actually more toward Christy. I think she's the one that had the child eventually in the second one.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why it was trying to get familiar and be friendly with it. But on the other hand, it's like bipolar. It's friendly with her and then gets pissed off at everybody else. And it's like, screw the rest of you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's
Yeah.
no way to be friendly to this one that's supposed to give you the child. Instead, you're going to torment everybody else because it's in your way. It's like, just be friendly to her.
Yeah.
And just let
Yeah.
everybody say,
No.
it's just an imaginary friend. Nothing, no big deal.
Yeah. No big deal. It's just a murder and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting to think about how or why it would mess with Katie and Mika all the way back in the first movie. But I mean, it's just part of the family, and who knows? Who are we to speculate on this, fictional demon's intentions or motives or what it enjoys, that kind of stuff. So,
Well, we
um,
know why it messed with Katie and Mika in the first one, because in the second one, remember they were getting tormented by it, and the housekeeper told her they had to send it to a blood relative, so they burnt that picture of her and actually
Oh,
sent the
that's
demon
right.
to her instead. Like, here, go torment her instead. So they kind of passed the curse on to her. So
That's
that's
right.
why
I
we got him
completely
messing with it for the first
forgot
one.
about that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I mean, there you go. Really, I mean, they tied it all together ultimately. So
yeah, they have. Uh, I guess out of 5, I'd give this one. Oh shoot. Let's see. I'm gonna give it a 4. I mean, there is some flaws there. The ending really takes me back a little bit. I mean, I don't think you need the Coven of Witches, but if it just been her making some deal to be rich or something, okay. But even then, they never really established that the grandmother has money. For all that goes, they never really established that either. So,
yeah,
it's like, well, it must not have been traded for wealth. So, what was it traded for? We still don't really know. They're just saying, oh, it's for wealth, but she didn't appear to be wealthy by any means.
right. Yeah, I mean, even her house. That one scene toward the end there, it was pretty creepy. Like when when like the kids are running around and the grandmother and in the house and in the grandmother's house and it's all dark and creepy and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean that scene is another one that really stood out to me. And so yeah, ultimately I think I am going to join you in that 4 out of 5 because I mean really for all the same reasons. Ultimately, I mean I enjoyed the movie a lot and they kept the narrative and yeah, I mean no real complaints out of me.
Yeah, none here. I mean, it's worth watching. I mean, I think I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed 2, in all honesty. Because I guess the nostalgic feeling that like you're watching a VHS movie. I mean, and it wasn't high tech by any means.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they, put everything up. Well, I guess there was a scene where everything was up in the air and then falls back down. But,
But still, the budget for this movie was only $5 million.
which is quite a bit long. So really,
Yeah.
that's not that big of a deal. Especially for grossing 104 million in the
Yeah.
U.S. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean,
Insane profit.
yeah, pretty much 100 times more than what they spent. I mean, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess next we'll discuss is next week. Not next week. In 2 weeks when we come back. I guess be my pick, and I'm picking the 1988 movie Night of the Demons. Which, if you haven't seen that one, I encourage you to watch it because it will be spoiler filled, definitely. You can find it on YouTube for free. I mean, it's that easy. And of course, we'll continue with our franchise and we'll be watching Paranormal Activity 4. I remember this one, kind of, and it seems like I was withdrawn from it a little bit, and I don't remember why. So I guess when I rewatch it, I'll find out why. Because I don't
I liked
remember
it,
if
so we'll see.
yeah, I know. It's like maybe this is the one I liked, and maybe it's the next one after that I didn't care for. I don't remember. But
Yeah.
either which way, we're just about ready to wrap up this franchise.
Yeah. And then also for my game, I'll be doing the game called Outlast. And it released on multiple different consoles and I think PC as well. So yeah, if you haven't already, pick up the game Outlast and give it a try. If you like horror games that are have that creepy element, that's definitely one for you to check out.
All right, sounds like a good deal. I'll see if I can find that one. All right, I don't have anything else except for follow us at the Fright Corner. Of course, frightcorner.tk for the website. Email thefrightcorner@mail.com. We're on YouTube, The Fright Corner. I do have Facebook, The Fright Corner. I'm just not as active on there as I am on Twitter. I seem like I can get more out on Twitter than I can Facebook. That's all I got to plug. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and plug yourself? And
Sure. We still have the main website, like John was saying, thefrightcorner.tk or jeffjarman.tk. All of that stuff has links to pretty much everything we've ever done, including a YouTube comedy show called The Jeff Jarman Show, Keepers of the Key, like a Stargate-themed deal. One post-apocalyptic Fallout episode, which is kind of cool. I I would really like to get back into that at some point. So lots of film stuff, lots of podcast stuff. Also on Twitter, I'm at Real Jeff Jarman. My previous Twitter account got hacked and spammed sunglass advertisements to all my friends. So that was nice. And then, and you can also follow the Edge of the Earth podcast on Twitter if you wish. I haven't done a new episode of that in a while, but the old archives are still in existence. So it's at EOTE podcast on Twitter. But again, through the website, you can find it all there. So, yeah, I think that's about it, John.
All right, sounds good. So until next time, keep horror alive and watch something that scares you. And we'll see you right here in the Fright Corner.